How's it going, guys? It's Juan with the Diet Doc San Angelo, Texas. So previous videos we had set up as far as our training was going, so just kind of a little video series on how things are going in preparation for the Reap What You Sow, or the USPA Reap What You Sow. So we are actually about 8 weeks in, just finishing 8 weeks in, so we are 8, I believe it's 9 weeks out from today. So, and that will be taking place on August 12th. So later on this week, or actually tomorrow, which will be Sunday, so today is Saturday, June 10th. And this section, like I promised, is going to be the nutrition. So we're kind of doing a screencasting, so that way you can see how I'm keeping track of all my nutrition. Basically what this is my spreadsheet that everyone uses who works with me, is to keep track of your numbers, your macronutrients, protein, carbs, fats, calories, your weight, training, measurements, mental edge, all that stuff, and so that way it makes it more a little streamlined. Now, apart from this, I do actually use still MyFitnessPal to keep track, and anyone, if they want to just request me, you can search under J Martinez 8752, I believe, and they should find my logs. So this is going to include pretty much the week-to-week breakdown, and I'll kind of explain how my weight's going and the kind of rate that I have going for it. So I know originally when we set up, the meat prep was 16 weeks out. We wanted to do 2 pounds a month. Well, kind of a good rate that we had established, getting a little bit faster, but I'll kind of explain that I'll go into detail on that. So we have week 1, like I mentioned in the very first video, just kind of a brief summary of what was going on. Week 1, we started on the 15th of April. We were seeing my average calorie intake for the week was about 2,900. Throughout the days leading up to the 21st, I was about a 2,500 calorie intake. So my last day, which what I ended up doing is I calorie cycled, so just meaning I intentionally lowered my calories, carbs, macros, just calories for this sake, lower on these particular days, and had a large calorie day on this particular day to actually maintain my average for the week. So now with these 2,800 calories, I actually expected my weight to come down. What you see here is the 208.8. Like I mentioned before, not necessarily saying that I cleaned up my diet, but I was having more sporadic free meals, and usually with my free meals they tend to be pretty large, and my average calorie intake was about 3,100 calories or so. So my weight was around 211, 212, averaging there. So like I said, I expected some of that to come down, depleting in glycogen, dropping some water. So like I said, kind of dropping that weight. So what we did is we went ahead and continued with the 2,800 calories. But like I said, is with the calorie cycling, I do tend to correct that throughout the following week, so we can get closer to our average for the week that we're aiming for. Now week 2, like I said, doing some correction, but because of how high my calorie day is or was on the 21st, I really do a good job of paying attention or not forcing myself to continue eating on my regular schedule after, because of the fact that if I do continue, then my calories are going to be higher. So like in off seasons in the past, usually before, so we'll go back to like 3 or so years before, from other coaches that I've had before I started coaching myself, is they would tell me to have a cheat meal kind of on a weekly basis. Now, based on that cheat meal, if they were in comparison to something like this day here on the 21st, which I'll highlight now so you can see, is if I was in a caloric surplus, more, and I bet it was more than the 2,800 calories if I'm eating a 5,800 calorie day, and then I continue straight off the bat the next day just to hit it hard or get back on track with a surplus, then that means my surplus is even bigger. So that's what we do on week 2, is kind of manage that. And training's still going to be okay, just because of the fact that these calories are going to carry over some. So it's not like you're, just going to, they just count for that day. Like I said, we focus on a weekly basis. So energy expenditure, calories, average calories for the week. So it's not necessarily that particular day. So you'll definitely notice or keep in mind, if you do use this technique, that probably for the next couple days after this large day of eating, hunger won't necessarily be as high. Even during later stages of dieting, for myself particularly, I notice that I'm not as hungry as well. Now, depending on how lean you are and your metabolism and probably the type of, we'll say, refeed or increased calorie intake that you have, so type of macronutrient that you have in a surplus, like I said, it could affect your hunger levels. And that's probably going to be something that's usually like your typical refeed, a really, really high carb day. But like I said, as you can see here, my fats are pretty high. So, like I said, I think it's just I'm going to be satisfied for a lot longer. So again, week 2, weight comes up, average. Like I said, it's kind of expected with this extra calories here. But like I said, average for the week's actually 2,600. So, from week to week, don't necessarily make an adjustment just because we haven't been consistent from week 1 to week 2 as far as total calories being the same. And like I said, weight is coming up. So I'm going to wait, and where I waited to see what changes would happen. So didn't make any changes. We're going to continue with the 2,800, 14 calories around there. So we're continuing. So week 3, average calories about 2,823. So pretty close to what we're looking for. So a 10 calorie difference in our average. So in our average, protein, carbs, and fats are listed here. Weight seems to come up again, the average. So again, since weight is coming up, we aren't making any changes. So like I said, from week 2 to 3, 2.2 pounds seems pretty quickly. But I'll explain that as I go into the measurement section. So week 4, we'll go here. So weight seems to be doing well. 211's the low on that week. Like I said, we're averaging at 212.9. We have another start day. We actually get a low of 210. That's just actually kind of telling me that with this current calorie intake, I'm actually starting to drop, or leading to more depletion as far as glycogen. Could have been a very hard training day, which was second lower day of week 2. So it kind of just explains of why the weighing was low for that particular day. So what happened here is wasn't planned, but went ahead and, like I said, I ate pretty high in calories. Like I said, a free meal, a relaxed meal kind of thing. Like I said, I usually eat pretty large in these, and like I said, sometimes it's not planned. So like I said, I do have a tendency to have trouble with binging, but like I said, is during the following days of the week, I actually will, try to manage that so it doesn't affect me completely. So by maintaining a calorie average for the week. Now, this particular week, we ended up at 3,400, which is pretty high, about a 600 calorie increase. Average went about 3.9, which is, like I said, pretty fast. So right now you're kind of thinking that maybe there's some fat gain. But if I'll go actually over to the measurement section, so 5.6, so 5.5 would actually be your measurements, and then we'll go to 5.12. So we'll go here. So 5.7, we'll actually look at our measurements. 88.3. That's the week that had our lows. 5.14 is actually the week of the 2 bench days that were highlighted. So we're actually only seeing 0.6 of a centimeter increase. This one's going to be a 1 centimeter increase, and then actually lower below the navel, 0.3 of an increase. So nothing too crazy, too drastic. So like I said, again, good sign. Even though our weight, these are actual individual weights for that particular day, even though the weight here is about a 3-pound difference, we're not seeing too big of a drastic increase. So I want to say over the lowest, which was 88.3, our highest actual measurement section from the 21st was 89.3. So 1 centimeter total. If we go to our highest, which was last week at 91.9, that's about a 3.6 centimeter total in 8 weeks. That's a little bit higher, but I'll actually explain why something like this is actually changing. There's actually these last 3-4 weeks or so, a lot of water retention. Actually went to visit my doctor, and they did make some changes to my medication. So as soon as that started happening, I did see some changes as far as weights, and we can tell as apart from these high calorie days, and this high calorie day is our weight starts to change. And I have noted here when my medication actually changed. So week 6, so we actually not too bad. The reason our averages are actually a little bit higher than normal is because we have these 3 outlier weigh-ins in comparison to these, so they do tend to come back down. But again, we have a particular high day here, and like I said, weigh-ins don't necessarily the next following day, but again, these 3 here are going to be your outliers again. So our average tends to be a little bit higher, should even out, but like I said, again, with I think a change in my medication, started to notice a little bit more water retention. So we'll actually go from week 6 to week 7. You'll see how the actual averages are jumping up, and then from week 7 to week 8 it goes really high. So that's a big increase. But just to show y'all guys that I'm not necessarily worried that it's going to be body fat, just because calories 2,900 for the week, 3,000 for the week, 2,800 for the week, 2,900 for the week. This is my only really high actual calorie surplus days. The reason being that the 2,800 calories, which somebody may be like, well, 2,800 calories may be just too much for you. The thing is that when I was cutting in about a 2,300 calorie, losing about 1.2 pounds. So with a 600 calorie increase, I shouldn't see a gain of weight from 208 pound average all the way up to a 225 point average. So I've actually just double checked everything. Calories are about an average of 2,900, about, we'll just say 3,000 rounded up. And like I said, so I think everything so far is smooth sailing. So apart from this medication change on week 6, my rate of weight increase was actually 1.2 pounds per week, which actually, like I said, seems a little high, but the average, or not say average, but the amount of increase in waist was only 0.6 centimeter, or actually 1 centimeter. So nothing too crazy. So if y'all have any questions, guys, let me know. I'll go over it a little bit more. But thanks for watching.